I didn't even realize my life had already fallen apart the night my brother raised his glass and said, "Family is the most important thing." Everyone laughed. I laughed too. My wife squeezed my hand under the table. Looking back now, I wonder if that was the exact moment everything had already gone too far. I'm not going to say my life was perfect before all this. It wasn't. But it was stable. Predictable. Safe. I had a house, a decent job, a woman I thought I loved, and a family that, despite its flaws, I trusted. My brother and I were close. Not in a we tell each other everything kind of way, but in that quiet, reliable way. He was always around. Birthdays, holidays, random Sundays. He showed up. And she liked him. That never felt strange. Why would it? He was my brother. That's the part one keep getting stuck on. Because if you can't trust your own brother, then what exactly are you supposed to trust in this world? Her name doesn't matter. I still can't say it out loud without feeling something twist in my chest. We'd been together for years before we got married. She was the kind of person who made everything feel lighter. Even the boring stuff, grocery shopping, doing laundry, felt like it meant something when she was there. She got along with my family almost immediately, which felt like winning some invisible lottery. My mom adored her. My dad respected her. And my brother bonded with her faster than I expected. At first, I thought it was a good thing. They joked around a lot. Shared the same kind of sarcasm. Sometimes I'd come into the room and they'd already be laughing about something I wasn't part of. It didn't bother me then. If anything, I felt proud. Like I had built this perfect little world where everyone I loved actually liked each other. I ignored the small moments. The way their conversations sometimes stopped when I walked in. The looks that lasted just a second too long. I told myself I was imagining it. There were signs. I see that now. But the thing about signs is, they don't feel like signs when you're inside them. They just feel like normal life. She started texting more. Not obsessively, just more than before. Smiling at her phone sometimes, then quickly locking the screen when I looked over. I joked about it once. Asked if she had a secret admirer. She laughed. Said, "Relax, it's just your brother sending me memes." That made sense. He did send a lot of memes. Still does, probably. There were nights she'd stay up later than me, sitting on the couch scrolling, the glow of her phone lighting up her face in the dark. Sometimes I'd wake up and notice she wasn't next to me. I'd find her in the kitchen or living room. "Couldn't sleep," she'd say. I believed her. Because what else was I supposed to do? Accuse my wife of something with my own brother based on a feeling I couldn't even explain? That would have sounded insane. The first rail crack appeared in the smallest, dumbest way possible. A notification. She had left her phone on the counter while she was in the shower. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't even thinking about it. It just lit up. His name. And the preview message. "Last night, we can't keep doing this." I remember staring at it, trying to make it make sense. My brain didn't jump to the truth. Not immediately. I told myself it was probably about something else. Some inside joke. Something I didn't understand. But my hands were already shaking. I picked up the phone. I didn't unlock it right away. I just stood there, staring at the screen, like it might suddenly explain itself. It didn't. When I finally unlocked it, I felt like I was crossing a line I could never uncross. I wish I hadn't. Because there's a version of me that existed before I knew. And I don't think I'll ever get him back. The messages weren't vague. That's the part that haunts me. There was no ambiguity. No room to misinterpret anything. It wasn't just emotional. It wasn't just flirting. It was detailed. Physical. Repeated. Dates. Times. Places. My house. His apartment. Even once in my car. I remember one message where she wrote, "He has no idea." And his reply, He can't find out. It would destroy everything. I think that's when something inside me broke. Not exploded. Not shattered dramatically. Just quietly gave out. Like a floor collapsing beneath your feet, except there's no fall. You just stand there, suddenly aware that nothing is solid anymore. I heard the shower turn off. Panic hit me like a wave. I locked the phone, put it back exactly where it was, and walked away. I didn't confront her right then. I couldn't. Because I didn't even know how to begin saying something like that out loud. I acted normal. Or at least I tried to. That whole day felt like I was watching someone else live my life. She came out of the bathroom, kissed me on the cheek, asked what I wanted for breakfast. I said, "Anything is fine." Like I hadn't just read messages describing things I can't even bring myself to repeat. I watched her move around the kitchen like nothing had changed. And maybe for her, nothing had. That's what messed with me the most. How easy it seemed for her. How normal she was. At one point, she smiled at me and asked, "You okay? You look tired." I almost laughed. Instead, I said, "Yeah, just didn't sleep well." That part wasn't even a lie. I didn't sleep at all that night. I just laid there next to her, staring at the ceiling, wondering how long this had been going on. And how I had been so completely blind. I didn't confront her immediately. That probably sounds weak. But I needed time. Time to think, to process, to decide if what I saw was even real. So I watched. For days. I paid attention in a way I never had before. And once you start looking for something, it becomes impossible to stop seeing it. The way she lit up when her phone buzzed. The way she'd step into another room to take calls. The subtle tension when my brother came over, followed by this strange, charged energy between them. It wasn't obvious to anyone else. But to me, it was suddenly everywhere. One night, we were all sitting together, and he made a joke that wasn't even that funny. She laughed harder than anyone. And then she looked at him. Not like a sister-in-law. Not like family. Something else. Something I couldn't unsee. That's when I knew I couldn't pretend anymore. I confronted her 2 nights later. I didn't plan it. It just happened. We were sitting in the living room. Quiet. Normal. And then I said it. "I saw your messages." The silence that followed felt endless. She didn't ask what I meant. She didn't deny it. She just froze. And in that moment I knew everything. "Say something," I told her. My voice didn't even sound like mine. She started crying almost immediately. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she said. "That line? That stupid, meaningless line. Did you sleep with him?" I asked. She hesitated. And that hesitation was louder than any answer. "Yes." I don't remember standing up, but suddenly I was on my feet. "Since when?" "Months." Months. Not a mistake. Not a one-time thing. A whole second life. Right under my nose. I don't remember everything I said. I know I was yelling. I know I asked questions I didn't really want answers to. "How many times? Where? Why him?" She kept crying, repeating the same things over and over. "I'm sorry. It didn't mean anything. I love you." That one almost made me laugh. Love? What does that even mean after something like this? At one point I asked her, "Did he ever say anything about me?" She hesitated again. That hesitation, it kept happening. And every time, it felt like another knife. "He said family is important," she whispered. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Family. That word again. The same one he toasted to. The same one I had believed in my entire life. And somehow, they had twisted it into something ugly. Something I didn't recognize anymore. I called him that same night. I don't know what I expected. Denial, maybe? An argument. Something. He picked up on the second ring. "Hey. I know," I said. Silence. Longer than it should have been. Then he sighed. I was going to tell you. That almost made me throw my phone. When? I asked. After how many more times? It's complicated, he said. No. It wasn't. You slept with my wife. Another pause. I didn't plan it, he said. There it was again. That same excuse. Like things just happen without choices. You're my brother, I said. I know, he replied quietly. That's why this is so hard. I actually laughed then. Because for him, the hardest part was probably dealing with guilt. For me? The hardest part was realizing my own brother could look me in the eye for months and lie. The confrontation with him was worse than with her. Because I expected more from him. Maybe that was my mistake. We met in person the next day. I needed to see his face. To understand how someone I grew up with, someone I trusted my entire life, could do something like this. He looked tired. Guilty. But not broken. Not like me. We didn't mean to hurt you, he said. That sentence stuck with me. Because it implies that hurting me was just an unfortunate side effect. Not the inevitable result of what they were doing. You chose this, I said. He shook his head. It just happened. I stepped closer to him. No, I said. You don't get to hide behind that. He didn't argue. He just looked at me and said, family is still the most important thing. And that's when I realized. He actually believed that. Everything unraveled after that. I told my parents. That was one of the hardest conversations of my life. My mom cried. My dad went completely silent. They didn't know who to be angry at. Their son? Their other son? My wife? All of us? There was no clean answer. Family gatherings stopped. Calls became awkward, forced, or non-existent. People took sides, even when they said they weren't. And me? I felt like I lost everything at once. Not just my marriage. Not just my brother. My entire sense of what family meant. I moved out. I couldn't stay in that house anymore. Every corner felt contaminated. Every memory felt fake. Even the good ones. Especially the good ones. Because now I didn't know which parts were real and which parts were lies happening right in front of me. The emotional fallout didn't hit all at once. It came in waves. Some days I felt nothing. Just empty. Other days it hit me so hard I could barely function. I'd replay conversations in my head. Moments I thought were innocent. Now they all felt different. Corrupted. I kept asking myself the same question. How long? Not just the affair. But the distance. The disconnect. How long had I been the only one still living in the relationship I thought we had? I started questioning everything. Was I not enough? Did I miss something? Could I have stopped it? I know logically the answers don't matter. But emotionally? They're impossible to let go. Trust doesn't just break. It dissolves. And once it's gone, it takes everything else with it. We separated. There wasn't really another option. She wanted to fix things at first. Said it was a mistake, that she'd cut him off. But how do you rebuild something when the betrayal is that deep? And with him? My brother? There's no version of reality where that becomes something you work through. As for him, we don't talk anymore. Not really. Occasionally there's a message. A holiday text. Empty words. He still tries to act like we can salvage something. Like time will smooth it over. But some things don't fade. Some things just sit there, permanently broken. My parents still try to keep the peace. They invite us separately now. Careful not to overlap. Like we're two sides of a fracture they don't know how to fix. I still think about what he said. Family is the most important thing. I don't even know if I agree with that anymore. Because if that's true, then what does it say about what they did? Or about what I allowed myself to believe? I used to think betrayal came from strangers. From people who didn't matter. I was wrong. It comes from the people you trust the most. The ones you never question. The ones you defend without hesitation. If there's anything I've learned, it's this. Trust isn't about history. It's about choices. And sometimes, the people with the longest history with you are the ones who make the worst choices. I don't know if I'll ever fully get over this. Some days are better. Some aren't. But I don't think I'll ever hear the word family the same way again.